Hello, everybody. Oh, hello, everybody. It has been a hot minute. It's Drekken here, and I thought I'd do something different and talk about how to get your bot to react. I know for us bot makers, I have to say, you know what is the worst? Cheese. Cheese is absolutely brutal, and it's one of those things that I think bot makers, especially new bot makers, we struggle a lot with dealing with cheese. It's I don't know, it's one of those things that you build your bot and your bot goes and you think to yourself, you know what, I got this really awesome build order. I really want to showcase it. I think that it will be really cool, and then you get rushed, cannon rushed, Zergling rushed, proxy marauder, proxy zealot, whatever that case might be, you get that. And I wanted to walk with you through. We did a little workshop on basically the ins and outs of detecting, getting your bot to detect, to see it, like what to be looking for to see it, and then to react. All right. And so we're going to go do a little bit of a discussion and then a little bit of a demo on getting your bot to react and to hopefully stop the scourge epidemic of cheese for thus you out there building your bot. So let's, without further ado, let's jump into that. So, as you can guess, more react equals less losses. Naturally, the idea is if you're able to react and to stop these cheeses, because I want to be really clear too, is a lot of times the easiest thing to build for bots is cheese. And if you're building a macro bot and you're trying to get your bot up to its full potential, you're going to face a lot of losses in the beginning, because even humans and bot makers love to cheese because it's super simple. It's really easy, and it gets them the win really fast. So your bot is really susceptible. So we're going to talk about that. First of all, obviously me, Drekken, I am, here for ESChamp, head producer, head creator, head bot maker, all the good stuff. I like to give a lot of tips on bot making. So go and join and get those tips directly from me. Subscribe.versusai.net. I think that will also be in the chat as well. Hopefully it's, we'll see. That will be in the chat. And yeah, let's do that. So one of the things one of the core goals, like what is the goal of what we're doing? And it's ultimately to, we didn't get the subscribe in there. It's okay. I will get it in there shortly. Ultimately we just want to end enemy aggression really quickly. Early enemies can be aggressive, and we want our bot to not only see that aggression, but then we want it to react, and then we want it to provide it a response. So that comes into three parts. There's three parts to this. Before I start, I'm gonna actually make sure that there's supposed to be a little bot in here from here that will from Streamlabs. Apologies, everyone. I want to get the bot, and I will at the same time continue my little crusade. Okay, so we got three parts: signals, policy, and response. 3 parts. That's it. That's what we got to do if you want to stop a cheese. And those are what we're going to go through. Signals. So what are signals? So signals are essentially the things we need to know what we're looking at when we're looking for cheese. Like, what are the things that make up a cheese? And cheeses can be broken down into their base down components. Let's take an example. I don't know if we have an example. Okay, so no, we're not have to go. Whoop. That was a little bit too ahead. So example, let's talk about Zerg rushes. Zerg rushes have, to get a Zerg rush of a 13 pool, the bot has to build a spawning pool. But it also needs to build Zerglings. And so signals are not only the things that they do, but then you can look at the things that they don't do. So for example, they may cut gas. One thing also in a Zerg rush, there is no expansion in an early, like in 13 pool, in 12 pool, 13 pool. Usually there is no no expansion. Now there are Zerg rushes that have expansions. Don't get me wrong, but let's talk about like your bare bones, easy peasy Zerg rushes. So a signal that your bot can look for is that there is no expansion. Another signal can be that the spawning pool is built really early. If a spawning pool is built later, very unlikely that they're rushing. So if they go for expansion, first, if they go for the expansion first, start droning up, very unlikely that they are rushing you right away, or that you're going to get a rush. Very unlikely. But these are all considered signals. Like, these are signals your bot needs to be looking for. So policy. Policy is like how your bot determines whether a signal is valuable or not, whether or not a signal is worth paying attention to. And so your policy can decide that, X certain things because your bot is going to constantly be taking in information. And so you're going to want to find out if what it is that your bot is seeing is useful or not. And that becomes your policy. Like, for example, what makes up a Zerg rush, and at what times becomes that policy. And then it determines, then whether or not this is a Zerg rush. Hold tight 1 second. I'm supposed to have a little bot in here, and it has not joined. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, it's come in. Got it. Okay. So policy is the essentially what we do with this information, and what does this information mean? You could consider it like the reasoning of the bot, right? Now we can do rule based, and obviously you can replace that with a little bit of machine learning if you are so inclined. For the sake of this discussion, we'll talk about just rule based policy. And lastly, but not least, the response. This is the easiest one. A response is like what your bot's going to do once it knows the policy has returned the information that that triggered a response, what your bot does. So once your bot knows what's going on, what's happening, and it's identified, then it responds. All right, and then we get into the fun part of actually coding it. So that was just a little bit of preamble, but now we're gonna code one. We're gonna code a actual. I'm gonna code our own response. Oh, maybe we won't. Maybe we won't code our own response. Maybe my you will actually not get to see it, and it sucks. Okay, here we go. We're good. This is the right bot. Yes, this is. Okay, so what we're going to be solving for is a Zerg rush. Our main problem that we're solving for is Zergling rush, and all that comes with it, specifically a 12 pool. We'll be looking for a 12 pool rush. And we'll code that. First of all, we'll show what happens when the bot doesn't have a rush and doesn't know what to do. So we'll get that running in a second. Let me have the bot. You know what? Let's get some music. This is a little bit of a hands-on demo, so we're gonna get some music going. Oh, where's my cough? Oh, could not mute it. All right. So, and feel free to ask questions as we get this done. We're gonna do a simple version. So let's go and I'm gonna walk you through it as we go. We're gonna first things first, we're going to run it. I'm gonna see what happens without the reaction.
Okay, so this little bot, let's see it. So it's gonna be building. Pretty straightforward. It's gonna be building. It's prepared. And it's a typical Terran. It's doing a 1-1-1. This is a 1-1-1 build. Now, this bot is programmed that when it gets when something comes to it, it's gonna get like it's gonna raise the depots. So even though it's going to get rushed, or should get rushed, we should see this bot get rushed. It has a basic protection, which is raising the depots. Now, what we're going to want to do, and I'm already preempting this, the reaction we're probably going to want it to do is not to build this expansion, because that's what it's building right now. It's going about its business. It's, you know, it's building an expansion, and it's just kind of like, hey, whatever. But we're at like 2 minutes in, 2 minutes and 20 seconds in. Oh, wait, is this going to get rushed? It's supposed to get rushed. Let's find out. Oh, here comes the Zergling. It's only one. Oh, maybe it's not going to get rushed. Oh, okay. So this doesn't look like it got rushed. It's supposed to get... Oh, there's the rush. I was like, where's the rush? Okay, so yeah, it's getting rushed. It's not really prepared. It's, you know, it's still going about its build. It's actually not really changing much. It's just... It's built some Marines. And it's like woefully unprepared to deal with. It's really unprepared to deal with this rush, right? Now, actually, I guess it's a little cheating because it does actually have a little bit of rush techniques in here. These are a little rudimentary. I built these a little bit while ago. So the reaction's already in here. But we'll actually... That's funny, actually. You know what? So what we'll do to better illustrate, I'm going to actually disable one of my current ones. It actually has a... Where's the reactions? I'm going to actually work on the reactions. Reactions. And we're going to run that again. I'm going to show you. We'll see what happens when the bot doesn't have this Ling rush. And so that's just actually part of the... And I'll explain why we're using this. Because that Ling rush, get enemy Ling rush, is a very basic... All it's looking for is a single signal. And the signal is there Zerglings on the way? And that is not enough for our purposes, because we want that the bot actually checks and finds out in advance if it's going to be rushed, right? Because if it's getting rushed early, then we're in trouble. So the sooner you know that something's happening, the sooner your bot can react. So we're going to want to make it a little bit more robust by having more than one signal. It only has a single signal, and that signal is there Zerglings on this screen coming towards me? Which is okay. Like, it's not the worst, but again, if your goal is to stop it before it happens, you're going to need something a little bit more advanced, or a little bit with more signals to do it. So we're going to talk about it in a second. So let's dive into this. Make sure so it's supposed to scout. We want it to scout at 16. Hopefully that's what it will be doing next. Worker scout. Okay. So first thing, we'll make sure we get as much information as possible. Let's start working on a new reaction module. Well, let's put it at the bottom. Let's call it. We'll call it. What do we call it? Call it probably part 2, version 2. Okay, so we're just going to focus on... this is my plan. I kind of set out earlier. We'll end up using it. So we're going to look for no natural. So these are the signals I've decided. No natural. And there's a pool. So the spawning pool is done 1 minute, less than 1 minute and 5 seconds. So if there's a spawning pool that is done or started, it got started between 18 to 25 seconds. That's a sign. No extractor. 1 minute and 20 seconds. You know, that's a sign as well. No queens. That's probably a sign you're getting rushed. Now, these are the different signals, and what we'll end up talking about later is how my policy will evolve to be a little bit more robust than whether or not there is a spawning pool. But just for the sake of just getting this done and showing you what we're going to mean, we're going to use, let's use a spawning pool. If there's a spawning pool, we'll use just one signal, and then we'll talk about how to make it more robust after. but we'll say if there's a spawning pool, or if the spawning pool was started between 18 to 25 seconds, we'll take that as a sign, right? Obviously, if you're StarCraft players and you've played StarCraft before, you know there's actually a lot to it when it comes to rushes. But for this specifically, we'll start with just the spawning pool, and then we'll add these others together, and we'll talk about how to do that. So let's talk about... I don't need this up here. Start talking about building this out. Whoops. And we'll probably want to say something like if the spawning pool is visible, right? We'll want to say if this, we'll do something like this. We'll keep it a little bit simplistic. And now I have a broad idea how I want to build, how I want to build this, but we'll do some toss. So something like pool equals u for u in self dot enemy structures. Is it enemy structures? Enemy self dot enemy. We'll probably have to make sure this is gated by visibility, because that's important to you. You only want to do it if the pool has been visible. But we'll do it as very basic for now. Structures, enemy structures. And so what we're doing is we're checking inside the enemy structures, seeing what's inside. And then if it already knows if unit type ID equals spawning pool. So basically, if there's a spawning pool in here, we got trouble. And then you can be a little basic and be like, okay, we can be like a little basic. We'll be a basic bot bitch and go like if pool and self dot time basically less than 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And we just say if true, right? So it'll return true. So basically it's like, okay, if there is, and we'll probably want to call this here, oh my God, please somebody help me. Self.ai, pass to it. Cool. Okay, so all we're doing right now is we're going to have the bot check, and if it sees a spawning pool, it's going to return true. Let's actually print to make sure this is, just like make sure it works. Okay, so if this returns true, it'll trigger our response, which is, it actually cancels its the expansion and then builds the bunker on the high ground, and then the Marines jump inside the bunker. That's what we wanted to do, but we wanted to make sure it detects it. So let's see. Now, I'll be impressed if it is this simple version works. I mean, if it works, I'm happy, but let's see. Fully expecting that what we'll end up seeing is that we'll have to be a little bit more specific. But let's say less than 2 minutes and 60 seconds. 2 minutes and 20 seconds is good enough for this bot. Okay, little bot is going. Oh, it crashed. Something broke. Okay. I think it was something is missing. One position argument, but 2 were given. With like everything in life, there is going to be some crashes. I don't believe it needs to send self. I think we actually just need to send bot. Should we actually wait? What is the bot's? What is the bot's actual? What is the bot? It is. Oh, it is Eris bot. Okay. It is just Eris bot. Make sure. No, actually, it probably should be LLM bot. No, should pass. Yeah. Yes, it should be bot that enemy. Okay, that looks about better. Think we're looking a lot better. A little bit of mistakes on my part. Let's see. So LLM bot. If you're wondering why it's called LLM bot, this is actually a bot I'm working on for a video. And I thought it would be very useful to make this bot, give it a test. Nope, nope. Sorry, that's actually internal, so it should be self. Self.get because it is in here. Actually, let's try it self. I am also fallible. I am prone to making mistakes a lot as well. So that's just what bot making is. Mistakes. Here we go again. Okay, so it should scout at 14. Please. Okay, please scout. Please. Okay, it's not scouting. Ah, it's scouting. Oh my god, I was like freaked out. I was like, are we gonna be broken this entire time? But it's scouting. Okay, so our SCV is scouting, going to get the information we need. And it's arrived at the base. It's around about 1 minute and 10 seconds. Okay, something crashed. So we should actually we had a problem here with our detection. So yeah, we see his enemy. Probably need to make sure it's like visible, like, you know. We actually want to make sure that we gate this. I kind of knew that logic might have a little bit of problems. I'm gonna want to probably gate it and make sure that. But you know, good news is we're scouting, and that's a step in the right direction. Give me a second. I just want to pull up. we're gonna want to make sure that okay, so we might want to say like if is it enemy structures is visible? Is it enemy? Is it self dot visible? Self dot visible? My brain has just frozen because I forgot if it's visible or not. I might have to go look it up. What the if it is actually the word, if it's visible, currently visible or not. So it's like so I have to remember how to deal with the fog of war. So I think it's gonna be self dot, is it state dot visibility? It's not the AI dot. I totally forgot. You know what? Let's ask Claude. How do you do visibility in Python? Even I forget. It's been so while. Python SE2. Oh, it knows what I'm. That's funny. It knows what I'm looking for. State dot visibility. If self dot is visible. So I'm gonna go to state dot visibility. State dot visibility. So I was right. It was state dot visibility. So you want to know if the section is visible or not. So we'll be like if self dot state dot visibility. Surprised it wouldn't auto visibility enemy, what are we, enemy structures, enemy start. Let's go with enemy start. And we like equal is greater than 1. So I'm gonna actually presume it's like a boolean and it just returns. And then we have to like return everything. We'll just push everything up here. Say visibility greater than 1. Pool for enemy structures. So we're saying, okay, if the, if we're able to see the enemy start location, and inside that start location for the pools, if pool AI time, if there's a pool and the time is less than 2 minutes and 20 seconds, then we return true. Is it self.ai or is it self.state? Because this thing is asking for self.ai. I do not think it's self.ai. Self.ai.state. Oh. It's self.ai.state. So irritating. Wait, less than one? Hold on. Okay. Only check if we scouted the enemy's base field. It means seen it at least once. Oh, I see. Okay. It did a different logic than I was going to do, but that's fine. I don't mind it going that way. I was going to do more than one. So if it's less than one, exit out. If it has, got it. And then you're like, for the pool, enemy structure, it's less than 2 minutes. Bam. That makes a lot. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. So what we're doing here is essentially, if we haven't like if we've seen the enemy's base and the pool there's a pool in less than 2 minutes and 20 seconds, we're gonna be like, the enemy's rushing. Oh. Something broke. Oh, it should have been rounded. That makes sense. It should have been rounded. Shouldn't have been yeah, that makes sense. It should have been rounded. Because of where the start location is, it's probably this long. Maybe a float? I don't know if it's a float or not. Okay. So our bot's going about its business. It's doing its thing. It's building a supply depot. And it's going to build a barracks. As one does. And then it's going to scout. So what should happen now, what we're watching for, it's getting counter scouted. So it should pull in here and sees nothing. All right, so it didn't crash. Good news. Does it, oh, see the spawning pool and it canceled. Perfect. Perfect. So it did what we wanted to. It saw the spawning pool. Did we get yeah, so enemy rushed at 12, 12, so it knows. So now it knows that the enemy's coming. That should be a bunker, and it's responding, which is good, right? That's what we wanted to do. It has seen it. I don't think it's gonna be ready, weirdly enough, because this is like a 6 pool, but let's see what happens. Where are the rip? Oh, jeez. Okay, well, our boy wasn't ready fast enough. Now he's getting inside this bunker. That's a little rough, eh? I wonder actually why he wasn't ready. He did the things that he was supposed to do. Let's see. He he recognized, and like, so okay, so this is actually perfect. So his response was a little too late, right? We could say that his response was a little too late. He went and he looked for the spawning pool, which is actually really good. But another thing we could do is say, oh, there's no expansion at this point, and there's a spawning pool. Likely enough, it's going to be a rush. Now, I don't think it's maybe a good idea to just say there's no expansion. No expansion alone might be enough to say there's no rush. I might even go as far to say if there is no expansion, it's going to be a rush. Because Zerg is prone to expand. Like Zerg is you know, likely going to expand. I don't know. Is it a good idea for us to say that, hey, you know what? If there's no expansion, you're going to get rushed. Let's reevaluate that one more time. I do believe it should have had enough time to respond, but it obviously didn't. And that actually might be a fault with the response before we get a little crazy with our detection. So the first part of it is, oh, you know, it sees that there's a pool less than 2 minutes. It's like, oh, hey, we're going to be rushing. The actual reaction is cheese. And so if it does is cheese, then it should probably switch to a cheese response, if I remember correctly. Is that what we do? Which should be cheese response. Yeah, so then it goes and it's like, what did it do when it did that? It canceled a bunch of stuff. Probably shouldn't expand. It built a bunker at the ramp, which is what it did. And then it built 2 Marines. Built 4 Marines, which is what it's supposed to do. So let's double check to make sure that it may actually not have been our detection system. Our detection system may actually been enough. It may just not have reacted properly. So, I mean, could it gone earlier? I said, you know what? Maybe if we actually send the probe. Okay, actually, you know what? What would actually make this better is actually if we send a worker scout right away. So I think maybe the worker scout would have made it a lot better. Let's see what happens. It goes there. It goes and it is going to the enemy spawn and then to the natural. It goes to the spawn first and discovers that the enemy is rushing. Oh, and it kind of sits here for a bit. It's building an orbital command. Okay, so it's actually the fault with the reaction. This bunker is like really far away. Okay, that's bad. So actually the response is appropriate. It's just sorry, the response time is fine. It's just I don't think it's might be a little bit broken in terms of the response. So yeah, it gets Marines out. This is wrong because this is like really far away. Is this building another one? What is it doing? Okay, so it does get Marines out. The response is right. It's just for whatever reason, it's a little wrong. Okay. Does it? Let's quickly see. Is it because I didn't tell the barracks to build at where is it? No, it knows though. It knows the barracks should be built at the ramp, so it knows barracks should be built at ramp. I'm actually gonna remove the bunker timing, so it shouldn't wait. It should be built at the ramp. I don't know why I didn't build it at the ramp. So the response is actually fine. The response is fine. It's just we're not gonna fix that response today, but it did react in time. It's just the response needs finessing. Okay, that's cool. So let's go on to the second part of this problem, and the second part of this problem is, all right, what if we want to be more sure that the Zerg is rushing, right? Because a Zerg rush actually can have multiple signals to be a Zerg. Like you don't want to have a false positive. False positive? A false positive. Because you might have your bot overreact, right? It sees that there's a spawning pool. And actually let's have a little let's have a little bit of a give me a sec. you know, it sees that it has a spawning pool, and the spawning pool is maybe it's going for you know, it's going for roaches or something. I don't know, I just made this up. I'm not just like you don't want just the single signal to say, hey, this is happening, because you're gonna get some false positive and your bot's gonna overreact. So one of the things we will want to do, and this is a solution I personally like, is we create like a little weighting system. I got this idea from MindMe, where we kind of create a weighting system and give them different weights. And so let's say we'll call it, what do we say? We'll make it very simple. So let's kind of keep it a little simple. We don't want to go too crazy today because I don't want to be here all day building this, but let's say how do we want to do this? I think what we want to do is kind of like give it a total score. So we're like, what do we want to call the score? Or how much do we want to say is, let's keep it simple. Let's say total score of all signals. Oh, it knows what I'm doing. That's cute. Total score equals 0. So we obviously initialize it. And then so what we'll do, we actually won't get it to return true. So we'll go something like, we'll take away the return true. And so what we'll do, we won't get a print. We won't print it unless we have a problem. So we'll go something like this, and then we'll go like total score. And so we'll say if it sees a pool, let's say total score is, what's it, like plus. So actually we'll say it shouldn't return false. That is not correct. We don't want it to return false. Don't return false. Okay, so what we want to do though is say, all right, we'll say +3. And then what we'll say is, what's enough to trip this? Let's say, I don't know. What's a good amount to trip? What did I put in my plan? We'll say what the plan said. Let's use 4 to trip. Let's just say 4. What did I put in my plans? Yeah, let's say 5. Let's say 5 is enough to trip it. Let's say 5. So let's say 5 is enough to trip it, and we'll go like, we'll say something like, total score to trip reaction. So we go if total score this is actually goes, we'll have to fix this because we actually don't want to, we don't want this to turn back to 0. So we'll fix this in a second, because obviously it'll go to 0 every time. We don't want to do that. So we'll say like, let's say total score. If total score equals 5 or greater, return true, else false. Okay. And then we're gonna want to do something, because it's gonna like try to, whoops, it's gonna want to like reset the score every time. So we'll say like, we'll say like if how do we want to gate this? Because we don't want to gate this, obviously. We don't want it to be 0. So let's, yeah, if it's less than 0, no, that's actually not right. You want to say, because it's always going to restart. So that's not going to be the right logic. We want to say, we can give this, we could probably give this a, you know what, let's just make a easy peasy flag. Do we have a cheese? Do we have a cheese response? What's because we want it to be 0 the first time, but we don't want it to turn 0 every time that it loops in. Or, you know what, we can just define it outside. Maybe we can just define it outside of... There's a couple ways we can do this. You would probably want a flag. Okay, we'll just make a simple flag. Just say it's like, if it's less than like, I don't know, 10 seconds for now. For simplicity's sake. If it's less than 10 seconds, you know, there's actually a better way to gate this. We could probably get this a way many better ways. Let's set it to 0, and then if total score equals 5, then we're gonna want to do something. Now we're gonna say, okay. Yeah, that's true. We want to check for natural, so we want to say like, so we'll say like natural equals, this is actually all right, except for that unit type ID. That's not correct. I think it's town halls. Can we call it just town halls? I can't remember if you can just go unit type ID town halls. Well, let's just, for the sake of this discussion, let's say that's exactly what we can do. And it'll correct me right quick. So we'll say, okay, if it's less than, and then we'll say also if you see zerglings. So you'll also say if, and then we'll say something like zerglings equal enemy unit zerglings, and we'll actually make this like literally 5. If there's zerglings, we are obviously getting rushed. So if we see these things, all right, we're getting rushed. All right, and then we'll say like, oh, and we'll like print enemy rushed. Enemy rushing. 12 pool. Enemy rushing. I'm not actually loving this method of scoring it. I mean, I guess I could probably just say, you know what, here, what if I do this? I could do something like this. Be like, if not has attribute there. Let's try this. Yeah, if not have attribute total score. Let's try that. That I think will work out a lot better. So it's not attribute total score. It's initializes initially to 0. And I think we should be okay. I think it's okay to do it like that. And yeah, so what we should hopefully get is it'll scout and then it'll be like, oh, there's no spawning pool, or there's no structures, or there's zerglings, and it should trip it. And if it does that, then we've done our job and we have successfully built a response. Now, clearly, I want to be kind of clear that this is like super rudimentary and I would not rely on it completely, but like, I think you get the idea of what we're going for. Like, we just want it to be weighted and we kind of want it to be, we want to avoid false positives with this. And there's a couple ways to solve this, but this is, you know, this is how I would solve it immediately, like, you know, in quick time. Another solution that I am keen on is like a matrix. So you can make a whole table of it, and MindMe does this well. You do a whole table of it, and you can kind of, you know, build out your matrix and assign different scores, and you have multiple different ones, and then it's easy to tweak the numbers and the weights. But we're not doing that today, nor are we building something so advanced right now. I need a lot more time to go ahead and do that. And if we're lucky, this bot will. We'll keep an eye on the terminal too, to make sure to see if it okay, it's doing the worker scout. We could probably have asked it to do a worker scout earlier. I'm actually a little worried about the unit type ID town hall, because I don't know if town halls is the right thing. You know, for the sake of life, I could probably made it hatchery. Yeah, I thought town halls would give me problems. Okay, so let's just go hatchery. And actually, you know what? We'll actually say something like, we're gonna make sure we do something like this. So, if so we'll kind of actually also exit here. We'll go something like, if self.ai state. Okay, let's actually get the enemy natural. Get the enemy natural first. So go like enemy natural equal enemy nat equals self.mediator. Is it mediator? I think it's that self.mediator get enemy natural. I'm gonna have to actually import something in for that. To do an import, we're gonna need to get Ares, but I do not believe it's the Intel manager. We're gonna have to enemy nat like that. And then I don't know why my IntelliSense is not super clever on that, but that's okay. All right, I know what it is. So then we're gonna want to make sure too that this is, you know, obviously the visibility of it. So it's gonna be like, if self dot and then we're gonna go like, hey, okay, there you go. Perfect. So you want to see if there's the natural. So if you see the natural, and then inside the natural is there's a hatchery. So we actually want to say not if there's not a hatchery, if not natural. And yes, there we go. Perfect. So that is what we want. So we want to say, hey, if you've seen the enemy's natural and you've seen the enemy's natural and there's no hatchery there, automatically give it a, you want to give it a score. Cool. I'm pretty confident on this. This feels right. Yeah. Oh no. What did it do? Oh. Interesting. Oh, that's so cute. It found my prop. It found an error in my logic. That's actually true. Wait, hold on. It did it? Hold on. Did you screw this up? So that's right. I want it to be right, but like that has to be. What did you do here? Oh, interesting. Okay, I guess that's fine. Not how I would have done the logic, but I don't necessarily hate that. All right. It's not how that's not how I did the logic, but it must have thought it was smarter. But it did catch my mistake, which is always the beauty of AI. It caught my mistake, but that is true. That does not make any sense. All right, didn't crash. Good news. All right, guys, we're off to the races. I pray that I have no errors. All I want for Christmas is no errors with my code. Okay, guys, let's see. Oh, you know what we should have done? We should have got it to count the score for us. Did it say? It says, oh, it says it. So it reacted. Reacted kind of silly, but that's fine. A reaction is a reaction. We'll watch this reaction for a sec. But yeah, we should have got it to like tell the score. Oh, you know what though? It doesn't matter because like it wouldn't do it. It wouldn't do it if the score didn't reach 5, right? So it did work. Because none of these individually scores by themselves is enough. So like just the spawning pool isn't enough. Just the hatchery isn't enough. Sorry, the Zerglings are enough, but we didn't see Zerglings. So, oh my god, they locked themselves out. Okay. Oh my god. And this is like too far to do anything anyways, but like. Okay, so anyways, it works. This actual like this bunker needs to be coded to be closer, but overall it works. I mean, you could have broken down the individual score and watched it calculated, but obviously it saw that there was no hatchery at the natural. It saw that there was a spawning pool, and it made the calculation that we're being rushed. Okay, cool. I feel like that was it was a little rocky, but overall we got what we needed done. Okay, so hopefully you were able to get a sense of reaction. So what we talked about today, we talked about signals, policies. Actually, and just to recap, we'll do it. So the spawning pool, no spawning pool. I mean, a spawning pool at a certain time. This is a signal. Hatchery, this is a signal. Zerglings are signals. Together, this get enemy ling rushed is the policy. That is the policy. This is what we do and how we figure out and whether or not this information is useful to us. This is the policy. And the reaction, and I didn't really go into the reaction too much because your reaction is going to be whatever you want your reaction to be. In this particular case, though, the reaction is this cheese reaction where it does a cheese response, which is to build this depot at the ramp. So you see it doesn't normally build it. There's no there's no bunker normally built at the ramp. In the regular build, eventually it builds a bunker somewhere down in the natural. It switches to building a ramp once it discovers there is cheese, and that is tripped once it knows that the cheese detector is true. So that's our reaction, and that's how you deal with cheese or anything. This can be done with Zergling rushes. This can be done with cannon rushes. So cannon rushes, your bot goes and scouts. And I have to say the most important thing is scouting. All these signals are a little useless if there's no scouting involved. You must scout. Your bot must scout. If it does not scout, you will die. And so getting as much information for your bot is crucial for garbage in, garbage out. And cannon rush, for example, you send out a scout, it sees that there is just a pylon, or if it doesn't even see any pylon, it sees so it sees a pylon and it sees a forge. You are getting cannon rushed. Or it goes to the enemy's base and you discover one of the signals there is that there are no, you visit a Terran's base and there is like no barracks in his base. He is proxy you. Same thing with a Protoss. If there are no barracks in his natural or in his main base, he is probably without a doubt proxying you, right? So these kind of things are signals. Your bot can calculate the probability using some sort of policy, and then you can create your reaction to that. Cool. I feel like I did a good, I like to feel as an overview. Could have been a little bit cleaner, but that's bot making. Bot making is gonna have a lot of janky stuff going on sometimes. Okay, hopefully you were able to get something out of that, and I hope that'll help you build your bots to stop losing against cheese. I'm going to take any questions in the chat, if any. I'm always open for that. If not, I give as much, anything I learned, things I've learned and things I'm working on, I give in my weekly emails. I send emails out, !sub, check it, subscribe.versusai.net. Every other week, every 2 weeks, you're going to get an email with me. And I kind of just go over the things I've learned and the things I'm working on and, you know, what videos I'm working on and stuff like that. You can check that out and keep up to date what's happening. So if there's no immediate questions, I hope you guys are able to build fantastic bots. We'll see them on the ladder, hopefully see them in pro bots. May the bugs be ever in your favor.